So let's take a look at the timeline here. So on April 22nd, 2017, the New Mutants got its very first release date on April 13, 2018. Then on January 11th, 2018, it was pushed back to February 22nd, 2019. On March 26th, 2018, it was pushed back to August 2nd, 2019. Alright, still going. On May 7th, 2019, it was pushed back to April 3rd, 2020. Then on March 12th, 2020, it was delayed indefinitely. Finally, on May 13th, it was dated for August 28th, 2020, and that's today. This movie should have came out 2.5 years ago. I've never seen anything like that. What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. So I went to the movie theater today for the first time since March. It's crazy, but we did it. New Mutants was my first film back, and I need you guys in the comments down below. Were you looking forward to this 7 years ago? And let me know if you like these movie reviews by hitting that thumbs up button. Okay, let's talk about it. So 5 young mutants just discovering their abilities while held in a secret facility against their will fight to escape their past sins and save themselves. So, how do I feel about New Mutants? Well, let me start with my anticipation level. When it was first announced, I was really excited to see this take on these characters, and then we get our cast. Really good actors and actresses here. I was super pumped to see their interpretations on the big screen, and then we got the delays. So many delays, and you know, someone who watches a lot of movies and sees movie delays like this, that made me worried. I was scared that it wouldn't live up to my expectations, so my anticipation started going down. But I'll tell you what, it's something about the pandemic. My anticipation level for this started to rise because I didn't hate the trailers, and I didn't hate what I was kind of hearing around this movie, what the plot was going to be about. If you're a fan of the X-Men, there are connections there, absolutely, and really to one specific character and the movies that he's kind of showcased in. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to go into spoilers in this video, but I do want to talk about that connection eventually because, again, we're not going to see it through, but it would have been interesting for sure. So we start out, and I think a lot of people have seen that first scene that came online, and to me, it was maybe a bit messy. And the first act in general, we're kind of getting to know these characters, how they got stuck in this situation, in this facility, where they're trying to learn about their abilities, but really learn about themselves. Why are they there, and where are they going after they figured this part of their journey out? Now, the director here is Josh Boone. He's been saying some stuff online, but let's focus on the movie. Josh Boone has an interesting-esque style that I thought was going to fit well in this world. And while it does at times, and something that I think a lot of people involved with this movie, they were wanting, is they wanted it to have that horror feel. And some of the imagery here, some of the CGI and the characters that we get on the bad side of things, they are creepy indeed. And it works really well, in my opinion, in a film that, you know, it's PG-13, it's kind of a superhero movie, you don't expect to see something like that, but those were the vibes that we somewhat got. But I wanted even more of. I wanted this to go full-on horror. Now, we get into the third act, I'm sorry I'm skipping around, and things start to pick up in terms of action, but a part of me was still kind of missing what we were getting about halfway through, which were those really great, well-done, well-directed horror vibes. And it also helps that you have a cast that is absolutely outstanding. Maisie Williams is great. Anya Taylor-Joy, Charlie Heaton, he's from Kentucky in the movie, so I related with that. Now, our main character here, the character of Danielle Moonstar, I've only ever seen this actress in something like Another Life, and I thought she was fine, and she was okay in this film. I think she was slightly overshadowed by just the more established cast surrounding her, but my issue with the characters themselves is not all of them, but a couple of them fell into these cliches and they just kind of stayed in that pocket throughout the movie, where even though I was interested in them as characters, they didn't really grow or develop in a way, at least in a way that I thought would have helped their characters and would have helped this movie in general. And I think that's the big issue with the movie, is it just kind of stays in the tropes that we know from this genre, but not even the genre, right? It's clearly taking horror elements from films we've seen before. It's taking action beats and action elements from movies we've seen before. And I feel like as we're watching the movie, the intentions are for us to sit back and say, oh, this feels fresh and new. And I couldn't quite get there because it doesn't feel fresh, even though, and I'll admit, I wasn't having the worst time while watching it. And I think there's enough in here for a lot of people to latch on to, even if it's not the characters, but it could be the action beats, it could be the horror beats. This will entertain audiences, absolutely. Are you going to walk away saying, well, it's the best movie I've ever seen? No. And I do think a lot of people are going to be just in that halfway range. It's a 5 out of 10. It's a 6 out of 10. It's okay. But for me personally, I feel like it's not one that I'm going to have a need or a will to go back to, but if I ever do, I'm going to be like, yeah, I liked some of the relationships here that develop between our characters. And again, back to the power set of each character. Not a lot of discovery within their powers, but once you see them in action, even though the third act for me was extremely jumbled, I was kind of enjoying getting to see that as fans of these characters from the comics, especially. I've always been a Cannonball fan. I just really like what he's done, and to see Charlie Heaton play that and portray that on screen, even though, he didn't have the most range, I enjoyed seeing things like that develop in this X-Men universe. So again, the story was a bit of a mess. Tonally, it was up and down for me. I wish it would have stayed consistent, especially with those horror vibes I was getting. I could have even used an R rating. I mean, they did get deep and dark at times and pushed a couple of things to the limits. Also, and I think Josh Boone does a good job with this, the romance aspect between a couple of the characters I thought worked extremely well, even though, again, a lot of it was predictable, right? So that's how I feel about this movie. At the end of the day, it was fine. That's better than some are expecting. Now, do I expect some to walk away saying it's hot garbage? For sure. And in a sense, I don't blame them. But as for my score, before I give you guys that, I appreciate you for watching this review. Again, if you like these reviews, if you enjoy these videos, smash that thumbs up button. We're going back to see more of Tenet on Monday. Let's go a 6 out of 10. I mean, that is like the first score that came to my mind. Okay, some good elements, it's fun. The movie's fine. Definite issues within there. If you guys are on my side, on the other side of the fence, I would love to know down below. How do you feel about the new Mutants and the new movie in theaters? Are you guys seeing it this weekend? Whether you do or not, I appreciate you for watching. Stay tuned tomorrow morning. Bill and Ted. It's excellent, man. All right, I'm gonna go watch Logan.